Call this Atwater City Council meeting to order, April 26, 2021, at 6:03 p.m. Pledge allegiance tonight led by Chief Salvador, and invocation tonight by Pastor John Motz. Please remain standing for the invocation after the pledge.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for the invitation, Mayor. Let us, I'd just invite us all to pray. Father God, in the midst of these times that we live, challenges and struggles all around, God, we gather tonight as a people committed to this thing called community. And we pray for those who are helping to guide and to shape and to enable us to be more than what we have been.
More than what we have been. More than what we have been. More than what we have been. More than what we have been. More than what we have been.
God, you are our refuge and strength. You are our ever-present help in times of trouble. And so it is to you that we look on this evening, even as we look for your guidance to navigate through these unprecedented times that we are dealing with. So God, for your strength to be ours, and especially for those that we have given this mantle of leadership to guide us through, God, we pray for that strength and that direction to be for each and every one, for each council member, for the mayor, for all of our staff as they continue to serve and make this community the community that it is, and even the community that it will be. God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight. We look to you to be our help and our direction giver. God, we ask for simply that, your presence to be felt here tonight as we care for one another, as we care to build this better community that you have placed in our hearts and our minds. So be our strength as we look to you. In Jesus' name, amen. Mr. Mayor, if I could, before I step away from the mic.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I know to all those who are here, and certainly to all of our council, next week, May 6th, is the National Day of Prayer. And I'm pleased to be able to announce that we will be having a joint multi-church, all-inclusive of the entire community, prayer service right here at City Hall next Thursday, the 6th, at noon. And so it's open to the public. It's for anyone who would like to come. We certainly have a lot to be in prayer for as we talk about the National Day of Prayer, a lot of issues across our nation, but also many that affect us right here in Atwater. And so it's good that we're able to say the right things, but actions speak louder than words, and I'd like to suggest that maybe even prayer speaks louder than actions. And so this is our invitation to come together and to pray together for a better community, state, and nation. So thank you for the partnership.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yeah, appreciate it. So I'll look see you guys next week.
See you next week. Roll call.
Ambrose,
Here.
Button,
Here.
Kale,
Here.
Raymond,
Here.
Creighton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Report from closed session, City Manager.
No action was taken. Staff was given direction.
Subsequent need items.
Mayor, there are no subsequent need items.
Approval of agenda as posted or amended.
Mayor, at this time, can I request that we pull item 16? It's no longer needed. Applicant has withdrawn their application.
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Ambrose.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Button,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Presentations. Monthly report by Merced County District 3 Supervisor McDaniel. Welcome.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, City Manager, and City Attorney. Quick update, Transportation Research Center, TRC, will be taking possession of the property at Castle to start their automotive testing on July 1st. They actually take possession on May 1st and will begin testing on July 1st. We do have a uniform manufacturer who is purchasing property and building from the ground up. It'll be a new building out there. They actually have contracts for the Western United States for uniforms, with McDonald's being their biggest operator. So they'll be transferring from the Bay Area into this area. Also, we're working on a wastewater agreement with the city of Merced. Thank you, Greg Thompson, for all your efforts. We got the communication going. Also want to remind everybody, well, actually, let's go first to the Board of Supervisors took a position on dumping just right outside the city limits. Out in the county, we get a lot of couches and all kinds of electronics and just basic trash being dumped. And we think it was because of the COVID crisis when we stopped doing our spring cleanups and making it harder to do. Folks weren't getting the trash all the way out there. Well, we come up with an ordinance where we've given folks the availability. They go through the trash, and when we find addresses or stuff, we will be pursuing where we think the trash is coming. So we gave them the authority to do that. So we'll be pursuing it. A lot of times what we have is, it's not just folks dumping the trash who own it. It's folks who are getting paid to dump the trash, and they've been given the money to take it to the dump, and they're not following through all the way. So they're pocketing that extra money. So in this, we're able to at least become detectives and try to figure out exactly the source of where the dumping has become. Also want to remind everybody, the monthly office hours, it's the fourth Thursday of each month, 1:30 to 3:30. We've been doing it at the community center. I've had some folks, it seems like maybe since we started the COVID vaccines, it scared some folks away, but let them know I am still doing my office hours out there. And also, the District 3 Town Hall will be May 5th. And you can sign up to do it either at the Veterans Community Center here in Atwater, or you can do it at Joe Stephanie School in the Beechwood Franklin area. And we're going to be doing it on Zoom. So if you don't have access to the internet or Zoom, there will be those areas there where you can actually reserve a spot. If nobody does it there, we'll close down those, but it is offered on Zoom. We've been doing it each month. I get the last one on Cinco de Mayo, so I'm looking forward to it. Are there any questions?
Councilor, any questions? Thank you very much.
You got it. Thank you.
Consent calendar. Oh, the 123 TCP. Yeah, we have something really important to share with everybody tonight regarding safe drinking water. So, Michael, take it away.
Okay.
So give it a quick background so most people here don't know what we're talking about when it comes to TCP 123.
Yep, you bet. So I'm here tonight to give an update on the 123 TCP project for the city of Atwater. TCP is a chemical that was part of agriculture. It's found in the groundwater now. As part of a litigation with the city of Atwater against those companies that allowed the city to move forward with this project in treating all of the groundwater for the city. So a very important project for the city of Atwater, and the outcome is going to be a nice potable source of drinking water for all the citizens of Atwater. So if I can go to the next one. So my name is Michael Behrens. I'm with GHD, project manager for the construction management. So if you see up on that slide right now, so this is a progressive design build project. This is the mechanism that the city of Atwater used to move this project forward. So you have WM Lyles as the contractor that's actually doing the work on the project. You have Provost and Pritchard, who did the design of the systems. And then GHD is the construction management firm that's overseeing the construction and implementation of the project on behalf of the city of Atwater. Yep, good. I've also got Jane Razga here, who's the actual construction manager, and Brian is in the back, and he's our resident inspector on site full-time. So an extremely aggressive project. The The project was awarded to WM Lyles and PMP in August of 2020. GHD came on board, the design was then approved in January, February, and that's when GHD came on board to oversee management of the project. So we kicked off construction middle of February. We had a deadline to get under the MID crossing by March 1st, and we successfully did that. Ran into a little bit of a snag here and there, but we did it. We got underneath it, and everybody was happy with that. We are looking at substantial completion of the project by August of this year. And we're looking to have all the wells online by June. So some of the successes, some things that have gone well, really well for this project, a highly capable team here. You've got a really good design firm with PMP, a really great contractor in WM Lyles, and obviously GHD. We also bring a great wealth of experience from the construction management standpoint. So a great team. Everyone's been working really well together. Obviously it's a construction project, so you always have few snags or ups and downs here and there, but nonetheless, it's been a very smooth project from this point on. Really knowledgeable crew. I went over that. Communication's been really great across the board. We have internal calls as well as calls with the city weekly. And then obviously this is my first update to council today. We have had a couple complaints from the public, one of which would be road conditions. This is an active item on our list as the CM on this project. The thing with cold patch is it's not meant to be it's not permanent. So we have some testing that has to be done before we can permanently fix the road. So that will be an ongoing construction issue until we finalize. So we're getting close to finalizing those. We have to pressure test the lines, and then we can patch that up to final. It's not meant for heavy traffic and high speeds. Winton Way right here is where we see it the worst. So it's really an item that we're paying close attention to and working with the contractor to make sure that gets taken care of on a weekly basis now. So I'll move on to the, so I'm showing you before and after. So if you look right here, I'm showing you the central treatment site. So on the bottom left, you're seeing what the original condition was. That's right there off of Fruitland, for those that aren't familiar, and what it looks like today. I'll tell you that this, again, is a very aggressive schedule, and so changes have already been made to the site. So this, this is 2 weeks behind, so it is moving very quickly. Next one. So this is well 15 treatment site, so this is south of 99. I didn't have a great before picture, so that's actually an aerial of the site, and then what it looks like today. And for those that are familiar, that's where the wastewater treatment plant used to be. So this is well 16. This is the one where we had to get under the MID line. So there was actually, it's impressive the amount of work that you're not seeing here. There's a lot of work that went on underground to get us to where that top right picture is. So if you look at it right today, that's about where we're at. So we've got the pad for the tanks. And the tanks will be coming. That's an impressive pad, two foot thick pad. So there's a lot of work that went under there on that site. So before and after for well 16 treatment site. So this is well 18. Again, given the speed of the project, there's already tanks on that pad. So if you drive by Joan Fall Park right now, you'll see 6 tanks sitting out there. So it has changed. But again, there's the pad. On the top right of that picture, you see the ring wall for the backwash tank. And obviously the bottom left is where we started the project off. So you had a outhouse and a refuse and recycling enclosure, which is now gone and is replaced by a pad. This is, for me, one of the most impressive ones. So this is actually about 5 feet in ground. Again, a lot of work that went into that pad and walls. So this one had to be below grade. That was part of the, from the city's request and then the design. So obviously a large pad and then walls that surround it. And on the bottom left, you see what it was in the beginning. So I'm just showing you a little bit more of, what went on to get to that point. So again, this was the concrete pour for well 19 treatment site. 2-foot thick pad, again, all of them. And that was on March 11th. So a very impressive pour. The crew did it with ease, and it's turned out very well. Some of the work that's going off-site, obviously a lot of pipe work, so we have to tie all of the raw water lines into the treated water lines. And so this is just a shot. Some are in Winton and some are in Bellevue. Some of what's going on underneath the streets. That's the MID line, so I just wanted to show that real quick. Obviously, we had to cross it 5 times underneath it. We had to line it with sleeves, and then we'll come back with the pipe. So again, just a lot of work that went into getting under that MID line before March 1st, and that happened, so everyone was happy with that. And that really takes us to the end, so I would open it up for questions from there.
Okay, council, you have any questions? Mr. Button?
So from now on, you guys, every week you're going to be checking on the temporary pad that's being put down
That's right.
on the roads?
And from what we can see, Winton's been, heavy traffic. People tend to drive pretty quick down that road, so it is. And then obviously we're heating up and cooling down every day. This time of year, right? It's heater in the morning, AC in the afternoon, so that cold patch also feels that too. So yes, our goal now would be on Thursdays is to check the quality of it, and then if we have to go back over it, we will.
So I appreciate that. Why weren't we checking on it? What's the typical? Because they did get pretty rough pretty fast, and I understand they're temporary, but
typically we wouldn't open it up for cars, but that was something that the city wanted to make sure that all lanes were open. So we are following it, we are watching it daily. It's not that we weren't. There's other alternatives. Do we look at, adding plates? Do we want to put plates down over it? It's not going to be that much longer where it's probably not necessary at this point. So it's probably better and more cost effective to just monitor it daily and on a weekly basis if it needs to be. So it wasn't that it wasn't being done. We're just paying a lot closer attention to it because we know it's something that's of issue.
Right. And I think it's just, I think, not that they were like dangerously bumpy, but, the folks in Atwater have already had to, the whole process with this TCP from the water problem starting way back before I was here, to now. So I feel for the folks that have to deal with this issue, and then now their roads are, let's just say, to put it lightly, annoyingly bumpy.
Yeah. Or getting free pizzas, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, but I appreciate you guys really looking into that, and
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Kale?
Do you work for WN Miles?
GHD. I'm an engineer with GHD.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate how fast you guys have been doing that. My question was really meant for the contractor themselves about how often their safety professional is at the sites or around the sites.
Daily.
Daily?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
So any injuries, obviously, for them is downtime and lost time. So it's very important.
Well, I appreciate that. I worry about the injuries to the employees. I also worry about what how they're running a lot of the road closures and what they're doing and not doing it appropriately, as well as I appreciate the speed that they're doing. And they're really doing good, but when I went by a couple of those things, I had questions to that. So, and if you, they can always contact me, and I'll gladly go out and discuss it with them.
Absolutely.
Thank you, though.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other council members have any questions? I just want to say thank you. The project's going really well. It's a gigantic project. Every corner of town is affected by this. And as most people can understand in California, the quality of drinking water in California, throughout the Central Valley especially, is poor to say the best. When we get completed with this project, Atwater will have the cleanest drinking water in probably the West Coast. Every single drop you guys drink will be running through a water treatment facility. It's a $60 million lawsuit we won. We litigated for multiple years, and this council stuck with it. We didn't decide to just take a quick payout and do the easy thing. We fought for the right thing so that all citizens for generations to come will have safe drinking water that we deserve, that, you know, we pay taxes and work hard, and everybody wants to know that they're safe. So I appreciate the speed you guys are doing. It is a big project. Witten Way is pretty bumpy. I think Councilman Button's right, like pay a little more attention in that area specifically. I don't know you need plates, but maybe the cold patch like you were talking about. But good job, guys. You're moving really well. We don't have any delays, significant ones, and that undercrossing was impressive.
Yeah,
So,
I'll make sure to pass that on.
Tell everybody thank you very much.
You bet, absolutely. Thank you guys.
Thank you. That's all.
Mayor, if our residents want an update as well, they give us updated information on a weekly basis, and we post that to our website as well. And we
So
have
those of
links.
you guys that want to know what's going on, you can go to our website and see the progress of our water treatment installation.
Yep,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thanks, Mike.
Consent calendar.
Background information has been provided on all matters listed under the consent calendar, and these items are considered to be routine. All items under the consent calendar are normally approved by one motion. If discussion is requested on any item, that item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Are there any items on the consent calendar the city council would like to remove for separate discussion or possible action? Okay.
I would like to excuse myself for especially item 7 on the consent calendar regarding Old Town Atwater, because I'm an officer in that organization, so I'll excuse myself from voting specifically on that.
Okay, before you leave, does he need to leave the room for that, or just
No,
back
I'm
up?
just, yeah.
Okay. Council?
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second?
Button,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Caleb abstains, Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes. No. Only abstains from number 7?
The whole thing here. Public hearings. Waiving the first reading and introducing ordinance amending Chapter 13.8 Sewer Service, Title 13 Public Service of the Atwater Municipal Code. Director Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, for your consideration of this item this evening. Oftentimes, we amend the municipal code when it comes to meeting or dealing with governmental compliance or from regulatory agencies. This item is an example of that regulatory compliance. It is specific to industrial pretreatment, and it is required under our existing permits through the regional board. This is exceptionally important, I think, in the amendment of the municipal code, in our recommendation of this item, specifically as to what Supervisor McDaniel was talking about in our interaction with Castle Air Force Base. There's not a lot of, or maybe one industrial type use within the city, even though multiple uses are considered manufacturing. The only industrial use we currently have would be considered like Teasdale's manufacturing, where they export their water. But this in place would allow us to safeguard the city's water treatment and avoid notices of violation with the regional board. But again, in consideration of what we're contemplating with Castle and the potential for industrial use, we want to make sure and have these safeguards in place.
Great. Council, have any questions? Open up to the public. Any comment from the public? Good job, Greg. Thank you. Close the public comment. And staff, council, your direction.
A motion to approve staff's recommendation as presented.
I'll second.
Kale,
Yes.
Button,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 15, resolution adopting the initial study mitigated negative declaration and approving the site plan and general plan amendment for David Arcadian project and waiving the first reading and introducing an ordinance approving a zone change for property located at 1901 Avenue 1, Atwater, APN 005-410-003. Director Thompson.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Thank you again for your consideration of this item. There are a couple things I want to make sure that the council is aware of preceding presentation by staff. One is that a recognition that the city of Atwater is a incorporated city and not a charter city. And the reason that that has relevance is that the city is only allowed 4 general plan updates or amendments, 4 general plan amendments per year under guidance from the state on amending our general plan under the land use designation or other elements. The city has not amended the general plan at all this year. This will be the only one. The last such instance, for example, would have been the update and approval of the housing element, also a part of the general plan. So you're within state's guidance in your consideration of the item this evening. So what we have received at staff level is an application for the general plan amendment, the rezone of the property, and consideration of approval of a site plan. In consideration of those, the property was required to be analyzed under CEQA. That is why we're asking for the adoption of the environmental document that came along with this. Now, under that review, under CEQA, staff was asked to, and by way of their consultants, look for areas of significance as far as impact to some minimum mandatory observances that we're required to make, and then make a determination on whether a negative declaration could be issued or if consideration for mitigation would be required. In this particular case, mitigation was required under the environmental analysis, and the requirement to implement a monitoring and reporting plan is included in the conditions of approval. So, for your consideration this evening, the applicant, David Arcadian, is proposing a general plan amendment to change the residential or very high residential use of the corner of Buhack and Avenue 1, of that of VLDR, to that of general commercial. With that would come the requirement to rezone the property to general commercial designation to allow for those that would be permitted use, the conditional uses, and the development standards already present in the municipal code. Okay, so one of the things that the staff would look at through this lens of the application is to see whether the request was a good fit for the city of Atwater and in alignment with the rest of the existing policies and goals within the general plan. Well, what we're looking for in this particular area is opportunities for convenience and walkability for the residents in that highly residential area. So we want to create those opportunities where they're not getting in their car, they're either biking or they're walking to those areas of convenience. Now, one issue that we also are forced to have to look at is, are we creating spot zoning of any kind? Well, in this particular case, by definition of spot zoning, that would be those instances where we would preclude that same zoning opportunity to others in that immediate area. Well, there's others in that immediate area. We may encourage a rezoning or general plan amendment to create the same type of opportunity for our residences. So we have not precluded that opportunity to any of the other adjacent land uses. So in your packet tonight, you saw the recommended resolution for the general plan amendment. That is accompanied by the adoption of the environmental document and the site plan. Not all requests for general plan amendments and zone changes are accompanied by the site plan. That was requested by the applicant and his representatives. This represented a good opportunity for the city to impose conditions. also construction requirements that would or would not otherwise be provided for in the mitigation requirements of the environmental document. So this took a very long time, if you'll see some of the numbers associated with this, but it was an extremely comprehensive look at the request and to make sure that that was a good fit with that particular corner. And if it was the desire of the city to work with the applicant on opportunities of convenience and walkability, that did in fact meet that bill.
Very good. At this time, I'll open up to public comment. Any members of the public on this item, item 15, please come to the podium, state your name. Welcome.
Good evening. My name's Karen Gray. I live right next door to that proposed project. And I'm concerned that the impact for me as a neighbor, I'm going to lose 50 feet of my front yard because as soon as you get that corner okayed, you're going to want to extend it out to match the rest of the geographics in that area. And I want to know if that's on the back burner and you just haven't said anything.
Thank you. You want to go ahead and address?
Yeah, I could address that. Yes, that was looked at in changing the way that curb return works and how it runs along the frontage of that property and then widens out right in front of your property. There is no current plan for the city to take any additional footage along that roadway, along Avenue 1, specifically because a Class 1 bike path exists along a portion of that frontage, and we don't want to change that.
Okay, what about the power poles that are directly in front of that property on 1901?
Okay, so as far as I know, utility is addressed in the site plan and in the conditions of approval that they will coordinate with all utility providers. The current service would be underserved, in my opinion. I'm not an electrical engineer.
I just want to know if the pole is coming down.
That may be associated with any request for service, but again, I don't know what requests for service that they've made through their utility provider.
Okay, there's a swing pole on my yard that facilitated electricity to the old lot. When
The
there was
use of the property prior to this request was that of a residential use. It's now of a commercial use. So that service would be completely undersized, is my understanding, for their uses. They wouldn't be able to utilize the same utility connection.
Okay, I guess what I'm asking is, after you get this corner, if it's okayed, what's to stop you from saying, okay, you know, that we've set a precedent and we're just going to come on down the road and hook it up to the new subdivision that's 2 houses away?
As far as the utility is concerned, electrical utility?
Are they going to put those utilities underground? Do you know?
The utility
To
that
match
is
the-
provided along Avenue 1, is that the one you're talking about?
Right.
Okay, a utility plan was not provided as far as the application, but utility uses were analyzed at the time of the environmental document. I don't believe any plans to put anything above ground was analyzed at the time. I can defer to our environmental consultant who is present tonight if she has any comment on the utility portion of the environmental document. But as far as I know, as of right now, a utility plan has not been provided to the city.
So how do they plan on getting power if they haven't made a plan?
The utilities would have to be provided through an existing utility corridor. So along Avenue 1, as well as other areas of the city, public utilities easements already exist.
Okay.
So they would have the confines of the public utilities easements to place their utilities in.
Okay, because the easements are all overhead.
Well,
That's along that first 600 feet from
So
UHAC.
Karen,
But-
can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Sure.
So you guys already have communication and dialogue, right? Are you working with Greg? Are you working with Karen on what's going on? I think these are more complex questions and good ones. 'Cause you need to know the answers, and I want to make sure she gets those answers.
Absolutely.
Well, what I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
What I'm concerned with is if you decide to do underground, it'll wipe out all of my mature trees, evergreens, and everything that I have planted 40-some years ago on my front side of my yard. And I want to know if I should be tentatively in the back of my mind planting trees closer to my house as far as privacy break or?
So I think that's a good question. I think what you need to do is work with Greg a little bit, but if they do, and lately they've been boring and not opening up the road to do the power underground, but Greg would be able to answer those questions in more detail because you need to know the specifics on what's going in on that site if it is approved. So there's more detail that we don't have here tonight to answer to you that you need.
Okay. Also, the building they're proposing is 12,500 square feet, which is more than 25% of the land for that corner, because that corner is only 43,000. And so the building is too large. That needs to be corrected.
I think the square footage of the building, the building envelope that was provided for on the architecture and the site plan were analyzed as a part of the CEQA document. So the way that the triggers that we would have that would be a concern over size, for example, is if they were not allowed to meet the 10% landscaping that is provided for in the municipal code, or if the building envelope exceeds 10,000 square feet of new construction, it wouldn't qualify for an exemption. But here, they're not asking for an exemption. What they're asking for is the certification of a document that takes that size into consideration.
Also, it looks like there's approximately 50 plus parking spots that are going to be in front of that building to access the services there. And what kind of services do they plan on putting in there? Are they pre-leased?
I don't know that he has any retail clients that have been contacted yet. We were not involved into securing any of the tenants. Right now, what he's trying to do is seek the entitlements to be able to have the type of project there. And once he has the entitlements, he could seek the tenants for that location. But right now, he doesn't have the entitlements
Okay,
until
having a commercial area right there in the center of residential, essentially, is there like a limit to the days of operation, hours of a day? Is
So,
it like
Karen, can I interrupt again? So what the applicant's trying to do is just try to be able to do that on that land. Greg was saying,
so that comes later?
that comes up much later, because it may or may not go through. If it goes through, then there's several other milestones they have to reach before they ever get to what type of businesses would be in there.
Okay.
And if I can address as well, Mayor, there will be several public meetings held and scoping meetings and which talks about the design and things. We will add you to a list to make sure that you get invited, similar to what we did for the TCP project. It's make sure that communication is very.
The Atwater mail service is not my friend. The last time you had a meeting, it was March 17th.
So, Ms. Gray,
And
what
I
we'll do
got
is
my
we'll-
notice in the mail on March 18th.
Okay. We'll make sure, can you give
Yeah,
her an exchange
absolutely. If you-
contact so that we can make sure you guys stay in contact with email, telephone, and mail? That way you're in 100% informed what's going on.
Okay, and I realize that I'm going to get a CMU wall if this project goes through, and I was wondering if that was put up prior to beginning of construction as far as noise and dust element and the safety of my property and my pets.
If temporary fencing is required, we could make that a requirement or a condition of the project, but the CMU wall separation is typically installed at the time the landscaping is installed. Other things like dust control, erosion control, water control, all that kind of stuff has to be implemented at the time of the project construction. So you have all that go in as safeguards as part of the construction code.
Typically, this kind of, if approved tonight, takes from start to finish, how much time?
The entitlement process is the first reading, second reading, and then another 30 days for the appeal process, just on the entitlement side.
Oh.
And then I don't know if the applicant has any desire to immediately construct. All he's seeking tonight is the entitlement.
So tonight would be the entitlement. It could be never. We've got not a lot, but there's a few across by Buhack High School that have never been built on yet, but they're entitled. So it doesn't mean that something's going to happen tomorrow. It could, but always assume that it could.
It just seems like that there's a lot going on with such a small little corner when you've got such a large landmass across the street from the high school that has been promised. I've been there over 40 years, and it was promised, back when, I don't even know who previously owned it. I was told at one time that Rayleigh's owned it.
Yeah.
And Save Mart wouldn't let them build there, so.
I've been promised several things going in there too, but they keep changing hands so it's privately owned. We can't dictate what goes where, but I'm hoping that gets built soon. And I've been told the same that you have, so.
Yeah, because there'd be a lot less impact to people in the area if they would start over there where they've got a big, large area, and that's less than a mile from my house. I can walk that far, and most people in our neighborhood have no problem with that kind of thing. But to go and try to put such a massive, intricate and detailed on such a small piece of dirt, it boggles my mind. I just think it could be better situated on a larger landmass.
Well, thank you for your comments.
And and also we have lots of empty businesses scattered all through Atwater. They're empty. They've been sitting there empty. And we're gonna build something else and have it sit there empty, because all it does is bring in vandalism and, graffiti.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other members of the public who'd like to come forward and speak on this item? State your name for the record. Welcome.
Lori Johnson. Okay, I believe this is the subject. Okay, can somebody tell me what the subject is right now?
Are you here to speak on item 15?
Okay, so it's about rezoning or, okay, so.
So do you have a specific question on this agenda item?
Okay,
Yeah, on this
I'll
project?
get to it. Okay, so when our property was rezoned,
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
it was rezoned, but afterwards you told us that you didn't know it was rezoned or something, but it's, okay, so it was residential commercial. It was residential commercial, and then it ended up being commercial,
So
city commercial.
does that have any relation to this?
It does.
Okay.
Okay, so. Okay, one second. Okay, so I was wondering if they're rezoning properties, all these other properties, and doing, just when they're working and doing whatever, just to get the property rezoned. I know there's a benefit to rezoning properties, and I know that you're Public Works Director too. I did not know that until recently. But anyways, I hope when you guys give directions, you can find other landmarks besides the Johnson House, because it is now just a constant reminder of how the Johnson's home was stolen from them. That was the subject.
Any other members of the public like to come forward at this time on this item? Please come forward and state your name.
Hi, good evening. My name is Bonique Emerson from Precision Civil Engineering, and I represent the project applicant, and I can answer any questions that you may have on the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, should I take this off? Can you hear me?
What are you comfortable with?
So my name's Deborah Hanning, and I live on Avenue 1, very close to the property in question. And first and foremost, disappointed that this is the first I'm hearing about it. And so rushed down to a city council meeting and now have notes scribbled all over my paper. I have a question about the zoning. You said it was very high residential. It's only 3 houses per acre right there. Is that considered very high residential?
Actually, there's a separation in the way the zoning works in that particular area. This is considered very high density residential. So
What's the explanation of very high density?
Okay, so the way it's looked at in our zoning and on our zoning map is called estate residential, or RE. So estate residentials are those residential projects that the land mass is typically over 10,000 square foot, the lot. They're still only allowed one single-family residential unit per lot,
Right.
and in some cases accessory buildings. But in this particular case, the land is an acre, so it's 4 times the normal size of an estate residential, because this represented a pocket that was annexed into.
Yeah, I live on that
It's okay,
pocket.
so there you
So
go.
I'm very familiar with that. And we've already been through an issue of rezoning next door to us on the other side, where it was 30 acres of ag land that was rezoned into residential. So now instead of looking out my kitchen window at beautiful snow-capped mountains or whatever I'm seeing, now I see roofs on 4,000 square foot homes on 6,000 square foot lots. And we bought in the country, you know, like our desire was to live in the country. And so already we've had residential come in. And now our fear is bringing, sorry, I know it's not personal to you, and it's just business, but it's very personal to us, the homeowners who've been living here, raising our children here, spending several years at Merced County planning committee meetings, Atwater City planning meetings, things constantly turning over with the power lines and the water and the underground. To get it underground, they had to like tear up our property. We've spent a lot of time doing that, and so just trying to protect not only our property, but our quality of life. And for example, when they rezoned the ag land for commercial housing, our son was 5, and he now works in the ag industry. At 5, at a city council meeting, he said, but if they keep building on all of our farmland, if they keep building houses on our farmland, what will people eat? Like a 5-year-old gets it. So I know we're not talking about ag land right now. It was already residential, but now you're taking residential land and building commercial. Like, we don't want to live in San Francisco with high rises around us. We want to live in the country. That's our desire, and it's residential now. So our fear is putting commercial property in a residential neighborhood. Many, many children walk past our house every day from the subdivisions that went in on their way to Buhack High School. So I have a concern about what type of businesses will be there that all of these young children will be walking past every day. I have a concern about the traffic. When the subdivision went in next door to us, we had no streetlights on Avenue 1. And it was very nice and peaceful. We could see the stars at night. When they did the environmental study, they said, don't worry, there will be no traffic impact and no lights needed. Well, I don't need to do an environmental study to know if you're gonna build 100 houses, that means there's at least 100 more cars worth of traffic in my neighborhood. And sure enough, once they built those houses, we now have traffic lights, which obviously are needed for safety, but you know, it's changing the whole dynamic of our residential neighborhood. Along with the children walking past this commercial property and what might be there, you know, there are some children who are not responsible with buildings and things. So to the point of the previous speaker, like, if it's sitting vacant, will there be vandalism? Will there be loitering? Will there be, you know, we don't want to be seeing that.
So,
and the Atwater Elementary School District owns land on Avenue 1. So that's going to impact that corner. Once they build that new school on Avenue 1, there will be school buses and more transportation and younger children on that corner. So we're very concerned about what kind of businesses. I know you're not deciding today what businesses go there, but if you approve commercial, then that's the next step, and it's like too late.
and Atwater Elementary is building over on Juniper.
Currently, but they do own land on Avenue 1.
They do, but the new school will be going on Juniper.
Current new school, but the next new school will be on Avenue 1. Like, I'm not planning to move, you know, like, this is my home.
No, I understand.
So,
do you have any other specific question?
well, we're obviously concerned about the traffic. We're concerned about graffiti, loitering. Sorry, I was just taking notes during this meeting because, like I said, we were not notified that there was a possibility of this even being rezoned. So thankfully a neighbor notified us. We do have this would not be for this meeting, for later, the hours of business, when are they open, more traffic, empty buildings. And as you previously addressed, there's a lot of land on the very next corner on Avenue 2 in Buhack. And how about we develop that first? Like, why do we keep changing things to commercial when we're not even housing all of our commercial buildings yet at this time? So I think we should be addressing those things first.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Do we have any other members of the public like to come forward on this item, specific to this item?
Yeah, I'm Richard.
State your name.
Richard Johnson.
Welcome.
My wife and I, we were residents in the city of Atwater. We owned our home. It was commercial residential. Just so everybody knows, I bought that house 18 years ago, 19 years ago now, put $95,000 cash down. You guys rezoned my property. You can say you didn't all you want, but you did. Now we're off. Sheriff's Department threw us off.
Do you have any specific for this
Yeah,
project?
I got a question. Who rezoned my property without telling us?
Mr. Johnson, this project,
Huh?
this item on the agenda.
But we're talking about rezoning.
No, this item on the agenda.
What is it? What
Item
is that?
15. Thank you.
All right, I'll be back.
Any other members of the public like to come forward at this time? Seeing none, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the dais for direction.
I move that we approve the, as stated by Mr. Thompson for the rezoning.
I'll second.
Motion by Kale, second by Raymond.
Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Button?
I feel like there's a little too much uncertainty with some of the questions that were fielded in regards to utilities. And I understand there's more steps to be taken. And, this is step 1 of maybe 4. But it is still a step. And so with there being so much uncertainty, my vote I'm going to be a no.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
That's it, right? We pulled item 16, so this time, comments from the public?
At this time, any person may comment on any item which is not on the agenda. You may state your name and address for the record, however, it is not required. Action will not be taken on an item that is not on the agenda. If it requires action, it will be referred to staff and or placed on a future agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Do we have, welcome, do we have any,
Yes, Mayor, I have speaker cards as well as 2 emails.
okay, we're going to read the emails first into record, and then do the speaker cards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what was your name? I'm sorry, what was your name? Gallardo? Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry, Mayor, just one moment.
Take your time.
Email received from Ramon Rodriguez. Hello, my name is Ramon Rodriguez, and I am from Turlock, California. And I am writing my comment in regards to Mayor Creighton, racial profiling behavior, an attitude against a street vendor. Rolando, a street vendor who was making a living to put food on the table, was a target by Mayor Creighton because Rolando was using a commonly used plot on Atwater Boulevard. Mayor Creighton targeted Rolando because he is Hispanic, a hardworking man, and does not speak English. Thanks to in part of former President Donald Trump and his bigoted and gaslighting influence to racially insult people. Not only the mayor was upset, but he used racist tirades and epithets towards Rolando, and then called the police and city officials to do his job by kicking him out of the plot. Typical behavior of white people, which everyone calls them Karen or Ken. Calling the police on people of color who are not bothering everyone, and this has not just happened in Atwater, but it happened around the country. Despite this incident, I do thank the 4 citizens who stood up for Rolando's right to make a living and standing up against Mayor Creighton's bigoted behavior and abuse of power, and that these 4 citizens should be commended for their actions of defending Rolando and doing what is right. As for Mayor Creighton, he needs to be held accountable for his racial animosity.
You'll be deformed or you'll be removed out. Please stop clapping.
Racial.
Point of order, Mayor. If they keep up, can we have them removed?
Chief? Yeah. So at this time, we're going to warn everybody, please let the speaker speak. Have decorum. Thank you. Continue. Go ahead. We're going to take a 5-minute recess.
Tyler, you got a second? Is I wanted to check on something. I want to make sure that this is your number. I got a number to my personal number, and I wasn't sure if it was you or not, but I think it was. Is that you? Because I couldn't sort of, I think it's there, but I'm not sure who that is, so I didn't want to respond. You know what? Oh, no. Well, we want to make sure that there's a separation between what is trying signs being up, little buildings going up tomorrow. And of course, she wants to know about it.
call this meeting back to order. City Clerk, please continue. Before you do, I just want to make one more statement, just so everybody knows. Please, when the speakers, because there's going to be probably a lot of speakers tonight, let everybody speak. We do want to be able to hear what they have to say, and no outbursts or loud noises, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
This is why BIPOC community members are fearful, because incidents like these does happen, and when white people weaponize their privilege by calling the police on them, it causes trauma on people. Therefore, shame on Mayor Creighton and his white supremacist attitude, and shame that he is the mayor, while using his powers to discriminate and having the police kick a street vendor out of the public for making a living to feed his family. White privilege is real, and Mayor Creighton needs to examine himself deeply that his white privilege harmed BIPOC members of the community that he is supposed to lead. Thank you, and hope that my comment will be read out loud in today's council meeting. Ramon Rodriguez.
Next one.
Mayor, one of the emails was retracted from the person. She is present in the meeting today, so she will be reading that out loud herself.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I do have other public comments that were actually, so I will place you behind that one, okay?
I'll call the people here in the audience to come up when we're ready for that.
So the first public comment was Cleo.
Welcome. Please state your name for the public.
I need a translator.
Oh.
I'll be translating for Cleo.
Okay.
Buenas tardes. Good evening.
What?
El motivo que hoy me trae a asistir a esta junta es para dar a conocer un hecho muy desagradable del cual no era más que espectadora. The reason I am here tonight is because I want to highlight something that happened, unfortunate that happened, where I was a witness, to. Y del cual el señor Paul, aquí presente, me hizo partícipe. And that Mr. Paul, who's present here tonight, made me a participant of. De algo a lo que no puedo darle otro nombre que describa mejor lo que hizo, que no sea un enorme berrinche de niño malcriado. The only way I can put it into words is that he acted like a child having a tantrum. El día 24 de abril, on April 24th, fui testigo presencial de cómo un hombre de tez blanca, I was a witness of how a white man estaba hablando de manera agresiva a un vendedor hispano. Was aggressively attacking a Hispanic street vendor. Que solo buscaba sacar el sustento diario de una manera honesta para cualquier otra persona, menos para ese hombre. Who was only trying to make an honest living for himself. Hasta ese momento era un hombre desconocido para mí. Until that moment, the man was unknown to me. No sé cuánto tiempo lleva en el poder. I have no idea how long he's been in power. Porque no estoy involucrada en la política ni en los asuntos de la ciudad de Atwater. Because I am not involved in politics nor know what happens in the city of Atwater. Solo fui testigo de que un hombre blanco, I was only witness that a white man, maltrataba verbalmente a un vendedor de fruta. Verbally attacked a street vendor of fruit. Al cual confieso paré a obtener un vaso de fruta de sus servicios. I confess that I stopped to purchase a fruit cup from the gentleman's vending. No era otra mi intención. I had no other intentions. Y observé tal conducta tan hostil. I observed horrible misconduct. Que por un momento pensé, ojalá que no cargue un arma. At a moment, I thought, I hope he's not carrying a weapon.
Porque se han visto casos.
Because there's been so many cases.
Hasta allí consideraba esto no ser más que mi susto, mi miedo.
At that moment, I considered it fear, a moment of fear.
My fear.
Her fear.
Repito, yo solo buscaba un vaso de fruta.
I repeat, all I was looking for was a fruit cup.
Pero lo que recibí a cambio es volverme blanco de las grabaciones que el Señor empezó a hacer.
But instead, I was a victim of Mr. Paul Creighton, mayor of Atwater, because he began recording me.
Con palabras que eran, váyanse de aquí porque ustedes no pagan taxis.
He began to say, leave because you don't pay taxes.
Con actitud prepotente.
With a horrible attitude.
¿Cuál fue mi sorpresa al enterarme de quién era esa finísima persona?
It was a shock to find out that the person not only attacking me, but the street vendor was the mayor of Atwater.
Que lanzaba improperios y amenazas.
Who was verbally yelling and assaulting an individual and threatening.
Nada más y nada menos, Mr. Mayo Creighton, mayor de Atwater. Qué ilustre alcalde.
What a mayor.
De la hermosa ciudad de Atwater. Y pensé,
and I thought,
¿qué clase de gente me gobierna, por Dios?
What kind of people run the city?
Si este personaje, si esta persona hizo uso de sus influencias para asustar a unos humildes ciudadanos en su propia ciudad,
if this person can use his influence to assault poor people
for the city in Atwater, me lleva a pensar,
I began to think,
¿en qué más este alcalde hace uso inadecuado de nuestros impuestos?
How else does the mayor abuse his power and our tax money?
Yo nunca me he querido involucrar en la política.
I've never wanted to be involved in politics.
Tengo mejores cosas que hacer.
I have better things to do.
Pues soy una persona bastante ocupada.
I am a super busy person.
Señor alcalde, yo solo vengo aquí a decirle,
Mr. Mayor, I only come here tonight to tell you,
con todo el respeto,
with all due respect,
que mi mamá sí me enseñó a tener,
and with the respect my mother taught me,
a las personas diferentes,
different people who look different than me,
que en este planeta existen,
and who exist on this planet,
usted a mí no me representa como un líder.
You do not represent me as a leader.
Y lejos de eso, muy lejos de eso, de ser un líder al cual su comunidad admire,
You're far from a leader that the community should admire.
Permítame dejarle saber,
I want to let you know,
aquí, delante de toda esta gente,
here in front of all these people,
y la que se pueda enterar el día de hoy,
and anyone else who would like to know,
que desde este sábado,
that since this Saturday,
que tuve el desafortunado encuentro con usted,
I was unfortunate to have an encounter with you,
empiezo a vivir con miedo
and I now begin to live in fear
de usted
of you
y de sus persecuciones que hizo ese día a mi persona.
and of your persecutions against me that day,
Y de todos los recursos que están a su mano.
and of all the resources you seem to have at your hand.
He tenido mucho estrés estos días.
I have been super stressed
por el amedrentamiento que yo sufrí en sus manos.
because of what you put me through.
Tengo miedo de sus influencias
I am scared of your influences
y del racismo con el que se dirige usted a las personas de mi raza y de cualquier otra raza que no sea la suya.
and of your blatant racism against people of color,
Y de que usa los servicios que están para el pueblo a su beneficio.
and that because you use resources meant to the public to your benefit.
Si el comité de la ciudad no toma cartas en este asunto,
If the city council doesn't take action,
será muy claro el mensaje
the message will be clear
que estarán mandando a toda California
that you're
de
sending
esta ciudad.
California.
Y Atwater no representará la ciudad santuario que tanto pregona este señor.
Atwater does not represent the quote-unquote sanctuary city that you so blatantly brag about.
Y será todo lo contrario.
It's the contrary.
Y de aquí en adelante cualquier cosa, y lo digo públicamente,
And moving forward, and I say this publicly,
que pueda pasarme a mí o a mi familia,
if anything happens to me or my family,
cualquier tipo de accidente o improperios que pudieran llegar a suceder,
any accident or any incident that might impact me,
hago responsable al señor Paul.
I'll make responsible the mayor of Atwater, Paul.
Discúlpenme, tengo miedo.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who we have next?
Claudia G.
We had a translator there, so we let that go extra.
Claudia.
That's me. Okay. So good evening, Mayor, council members, cabinet.
Welcome.
My name is Claudia Gonzalez. I am a community organizer here in the County of Merced. I usually focus on issues of mass incarceration, but also support undocumented communities, including street vendors. I'm here today to address an incident that occurred on Saturday, April 24th, where Mayor Paul Crichton not only attacked, but attempted to intimidate a street vendor on Atwater Boulevard. I'm honestly appalled by this behavior, not only because it is blatantly racist, right? It's unbecoming of a mayor. It was a complete abuse of power. I mean, allegedly there's so much crime in the city of Atwater, but the fact that the mayor can make a phone call and police can arrive within minutes is quite ridiculous. The mayor not only hurled insults at a poor street vendor, he also utilized city resources, including calling the police on a defenseless man. Last year, Atwater made headlines when it was declared a, quote, sanctuary city, rebelling against COVID-19 guidelines, which continues by the last mask in the room, right? You know, if we are a sanctuary business city, then why is the mayor attacking the livelihood of street vendors? Was it because he was a brown Latino man? Is it because the mayor has continuously been given the platform to abuse their power? Is it because the city council never checks his behaviors and actions? Regardless of the reason behind his actions, they were inappropriate and he should be ashamed of himself. We will not allow the mayor or city of Atwater to continue harassing street vendors or to utilize public resources to intimidate community members, because that's what it was. It was intimidation. The mayor needs to publicly apologize not only to the vendor, but to Cleo, who was there and who now lives in fear. And if Atwater is called a sanctuary business city, the mayor and the city need to respect every person conducting business here, including street vendors, who are protected under SB 946. If you're gonna have a sanctuary city policy, it must be updated to the protection of street vendors, otherwise it is discriminatory and racist. So again, an apology is needed because I don't want other people to live in fear like Cleo is now living in fear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Bertha Perez.
Who?
Bertha Perez.
Welcome. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Bertha Perez, City Council, Merced, District Number 3. I'm here to tell you, Mayor, that I'm acting as an olive branch to give you the chance to apologize to everybody that you thought it was okay to treat like your feet. I don't think that you understood that there was going to be repercussions. I would appreciate you looking at me, because it is you that I am talking to, that we're not going to sit here and we're not going to allow you to treat the street vendors like that. You should be ashamed if that was your intent. We're asking that you apologize, set an example, correct your behavior, and be the leader that you say you are. You can correct your behavior, set an example to other people, and do the right thing. Nobody likes coming up here and telling you that you were acting so stupid. Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to tell you that you're a racist. Nobody wants to stand up here and feel nervous and embarrassed for directing you for your actions. I'd be embarrassed. In this day and age, everybody's gonna pull out their cell phone. They're gonna record you. You have a chance to make it right. It's easy. It's easy to be humble. What did you think when you were doing that day? That you were full of yourself with authority and power? This is not the first time it happens. I've been at a bakery. I love to come to a bakery here in Atwater. I won't say which bakery, because for fear of you retaliating against them. I came here and watched the police officer target people from a Mexican bakery. Why? Those people are paying taxes, and any undocumented person that lives in California is paying taxes. They leave a lot of taxes on the table that they don't get back. Billions of dollars. I don't know why you think it's okay to treat brown-skinned people bad. And I hope today you're very embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed if I were you. I'd be ashamed. I would never behave that way with anybody. I need to remind you that the people elected you. And these organizing skills that I have learned, if you don't correct your behavior, I will use to organize everybody out of office if I have to.
Floor.
Who's next?
Floor.
Welcome. State your name for the record, please.
Hello. Can you guys hear me? Oh. Okay. Hello. My name is Flor Josep, and I live in Livingston, and I'm part of the organization Faith in the Valley, and I am a parental leadership too, and I am a volunteer. And like I said, I live in Livingston, and right now I'm happy to have the mayor that I have. Also, I'm here today to support Rolando, what happened, because I just want to ask a question to a mayor. If he want like Rolando to rob or to be homeless until, or what he was doing. selling, working. Yeah, it's a question. Can you answer my question, please?
No, please make your statement.
Okay. Something else. Well, I just want to make a call for Orlando that he's not alone. He has these people to support him. And like I said, I'm part of the Faith in Valley like 9 years. Is why I'm here, to support the community, to support the workers, the essential workers. And that was another question for you, Mayor, but I don't think so you're going to ask. So, okay, I know, I'm just going to skip my question. Something else. I don't know, like, one of these ladies say, like, if you don't like people that different colors than you, like brown, black people, black color, or the language. But I am like Rolando, is why I'm here, because I sell stuff in the street too. So like I said in the beginning, I'm happy to have my mayor in Livingston, but if I was thinking to move here in Atwater, well, I'll be so disappointed to have this kind of mayor. And also I want to say that the Rolando, he's trying to survive in this city, like everyone. I know maybe you have the opportunity to have privilege here, only for your color, for your language, but we don't have this kind of privilege.
Thank you.
Not because we don't have a social security number, we don't have a privilege.
Thank you. Your time's expired.
Okay, thank you.
Have a nice day. Here we have
Karina Zarate. Karina Zarate.
welcome. State your name for the public.
Hi, good evening. My name is Karina Zarate, and I am here today to hold Mr. Creighton accountable for his actions. His behavior from April 24th is 100% not acceptable. Everybody deserves to be treated with respect and dignity, no matter the race or status. Isn't that what America is all about? We are all American here, because last time I checked, America was not a country. America is a continent. Majority of Merced's population is Hispanic, and the mayor's job should be to serve us, not harass us. We have to endure enough discrimination already, believe me. I'm here to demand respect for our Hispanic people. We will not tolerate this. We've had enough.
Thank you.
Oscar?
Please state your name. Welcome.
My name's Oscar, and I just want to look at you and run that clock out and let you think about your actions that you had with this gentleman on the 24th. Think about what you were doing with your kids in the back seat, what example you were giving them. When I approached the scene, you were holding a videotape like this, recording. They were recording you. I thought you were in problems. I stopped there to help you. And what did you tell me? When I asked if everything was okay, you said, no, they don't pay taxes. That's what your response was to me. So right there and then I knew that you were full of shit.
Please watch your mouth.
And you know what I did? I reached around my window and I said, is this son of a gun troubling you? They said, yes, he is. So I asked you to leave. I said, please leave. Please get the fuck out of here, were my exact words. And you didn't listen. So I got off my truck. I said, please get off this property. Your kids are in the car. What are you doing on a Saturday with your wife smiling next to you, being happy, praising you for what you're doing? Your wife is smiling on the passenger seat of a car.
Is that what the Bible teaches you?
And what do? Make your phone calls. Who shows up? The gal next to you. The frickin' dog animal control
Please
guy
direct
shows
it,
up.
sir, please direct the dais.
The animal control guy shows up. A police shows up. I mean, all within seconds. For a street vendor that, according to your Lori Waters, was taking business away from all the booming downtown Atwater has here. Because there's so many businesses there. There's just so much live, it's booming. Reminds me of Turlock, you know, Turlock's got all kinds of vibes going on. You go downtown Atwater, it's the same vibe.
And we give you the business.
And that's the people that he's taking businesses away from. Because all the fruit stands are all around the area, they're paying their taxes according to you. That guy that was there, purchased food in Atwater, guess what? He paid taxes. He pumped gas because they transport those cars in the car. He pumped gas, he paid taxes in Atwater. Is he gonna see any benefit from that? No, he's not. You know who is?
Social Security, Medicare.
You.
Please, no outburst, please.
We pay your Social Security.
Just please, just let the speaker finish.
I just want you to remember, Mr. Paul, that I stopped to help you.
Thank you, your time's expired.
And ended up being, you actually do need help, but a different type of help that I can't help you.
Who do we have next?
Carlos Sanchez.
I'm sorry, get paid for CP.
Who do we have next?
Carlos Sanchez.
Excuse me, Mayor. Before we get started, can I make a statement here and try to clarify something? You guys are more than welcome to make a statement, and you're more than welcome to come up and make that statement. Please do not yell out things from the things. We're going to sit and listen to every single statement that you guys have. We're going to listen to what your allegations are. We're going to take those into, just like that right there. This is not, doesn't help out at all. We really would love to hear what you're going to have to say. And we have an order in which we have to do these things. And one of those orders are, we have statement, the clerk will read that. When we get done with the people who have put statement requests in, afterwards, we can sit there and you know, the majority of the time we do not answer questions.
Okay,
afterwards we make our statements. Thank you.
Ma'am, we're not going to go back and forth.
I don't care. I'm going to speak because I'm here to speak for the city. And it angers me to be sitting down over there. Everyone's coming up here.
Another speaker.
And we are telling you what we
Ma'am, you're out
want.
of order.
And we're not getting any answers.
Ma'am.
Chief.
Chief. We are trying, no. We are trying to get answers.
5-minute recess. 5-minute recess. 5-minute recess. Chill out. Everybody. back to order. Please, we're calling this meeting back to order. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Who do we have next?
Carlos Sanchez.
Next.
Okay, we have Theron Sanders, Senior.
Welcome. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Theron Sanders Sr. Good evening, Mayor, council members. And the reason why I'm here tonight is I want to speak on your behalf. Why? Because you're not only a friend, a patriot, and a godly man, but somebody that I respect and I've been following for a long time. I've heard a lot of negative things said about you tonight, not only against you, but this current administration. And I'm here to let the public know that that administration that we had problems with, including the people that spoke about having their houses taken and stuff like that, that was the former administration. I witnessed it myself firsthand when that stuff got started. You bent over backwards to not only to try to help them, but you got up in the middle of the night, knocked on my door, gave me $200 cash and brought me to a place that I was removed from, where I was put to watch and clean and secure a neighborhood and protect another Black American's property. You did that for me. Told me to get my rent where I had moved and could barely pay to stay there, to return where I'm currently back at work, currently securing this gentleman's property and taking care of my other businesses that I'm adjacent to and where I work at. I want to thank you for doing that, for being my friend as a Black American. I know you're not racist. You have friends that are Hispanic. You support our businesses, our churches, and I thank God that you and Mr. Raymond got together and decided to open Atwater as a sanctuary city for businesses and churches. And as far as street vendors go, I use them. A lot of us use them. They have designated spots in which they're allowed to work. And as far as taxes are concerned, the only thing I know is they have to have a business license because they're paying taxes. The people who work the fields pay taxes. I know they do because they come into our car lot. And far as you being called a racist, that is a total defamation of character on your part. The last time I checked, that was against the law. That's like calling me an Uncle Tom because I like to fly my flag. Well, my dad fought for that flag. I know what real Jim Crow is. I was bused when I was a kid in school. My parents worked hard for the things they have, the property they own, and everything that we had to encounter as people of color in this United States. And who would ever think my sister, a Black girl from East Palo Alto, will wind up in Beverly Hills?
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Next, we have Lori Johnson.
Welcome.
Okay, Lori Johnson. This is only my first time speaking in the public comments, right? Anyways, I'm here tonight. I have like 10 different speeches, and now I feel inspired to say other stuff, but I know when to shut up. So, I would just like to start by saying that I'm not an idiot. I know I was used. I didn't see it till after the fact, but many of us are used. I mean, every single one of us up there, you up there, and the Johnsons, they're used, we're all used for somebody's benefit. The yes men, the positive guy. Okay, let me tell you the positive things that are going on in my life. Okay, so on March 4th, the Merced County Sheriff's Department came to our door to evict us. It's during freaking COVID. That's a big red flag. Does anybody see that as a red flag? We're not supposed to be evicted during COVID, are we? So they give us an hour to get out of our house. The stupid neighbor next door, James Breeze, is videotaping us and laughing. His whole family, his little kids and everything. They've been embedded with all this freaking hatred because everybody keeps saying the Johnsons are liars. Well, 8 days after the eviction, we go to the hearing, the settlement conference. The city settles with us. So all you non-believers or people that are saying that we're freaking crazy because we're putting all these signs, you can now rest easily knowing that we were telling the truth the whole time, because they don't pay for crazy and they don't pay for lies. They pay for what has happened to us. They know it happened to us. The only reason why we didn't get more is because 2023 is too long to put up with the stuff that goes on in the city. I've done this for 7 years. I hope nobody is offended that these people don't comment, don't answer your questions, because God, I am freaking tired of waiting for freaking answers. And it's been 7 long years, not a week, not 2 weeks, not 3 years, 7 long years. And I'm tired. I wish I had answers to the questions, but I already know. Because after I started seeing things so clearly, this close friend of mine, he would be feeding me stuff to make me believe that I didn't like some people. And those people I focused on, and they're gone. And then they had me focused on somebody else. Turns out Cindy Vieira, when all those people gone the same as I did. How odd is that? And I kept trying to look at her. Maybe there's some good in her. There's got to be some good in her because we have the same dislikes of people. No, she disliked the people. It was put in my head to dislike them. But anyways.
Thank you.
So the thing is,
Time's
the liens
expired.
weren't paid off of the
Ms.
house.
Johnson.
The liens weren't
Ms.
paid
Johnson.
off. Red flag. That
Ms.
you
Johnson.
opened your community up to we
Ms.
buy
Johnson.
houses. They're the most
Thank you.
shady freaking people in
Thank
the
you.
world.
Your time's expired. Thank you.
And I want to thank all my faithful followers.
Deborah Hanning.
Who do we have next?
Deborah Hanning.
Okay, next one.
Okay. Ramon Rodriguez.
Welcome.
Hola, buenas tardes al señor alcalde y miembros del consejero de la ciudad de Atwater. Yo quiero platicar que el alcalde, la actitud que él tiene, pésimo. No solamente contra Rolando, pero también el pueblo de Atwater, que está preguntando por qué las casas está quitando y está haciendo rezoning a propiedades comerciales, when hay mucha gente pidiendo sus casas y la ciudad, en lugar de ayudar, está ignorando que ellos no existen y está pidiendo las casas. Y también tú eres el conservador que diciendo de gobierno pequeño y ciudad santuaria para los negocios contra el estado de California. Tú no eres conservador, yo soy un conservador, pero yo creo que las cosas bien para la beneficiar del todo. Y tu actitud contra Rolando, él está haciendo del mercado libre, vendiendo sus cosas para mantener su familia. Y que tú insultando a él y también miembros del público, ese no es liderazgo, eso es nada. Y tú necesitas ser gran vergüenza por tu acción. Shame on you, shame on you. You should be ashamed because you're supposed to represent all of Atwater, but you're not leading. You're acting like a Karen on that Saturday. And all I'm asking, yo diciendo por el pueblo de Atwater, resign or renuncia. Gracias, thank you.
Thank you.
Eduardo Perez.
Welcome.
So, me llamo Eduardo Perez. I'll say that in English or in Spanish, however you like. Everybody behind me right now, you know what? I'll tell you guys one thing right now. I was at home watching this streaming, and I felt compelled to come down here because the people behind me that are speaking on you don't know you, okay? I feel that they're speaking on the narrative they want to run with, the bull that they want to think and they want to project out there. But I know you, Paul. I've known you for years, okay? You've been there for me several times. Last year, I had a brother that died, fell in the military, and you helped me last year give him, Sergeant Carlos Torres, a hero's welcome. People behind me say, oh, I got video of Paul doing this. I got video of Paul with me at St. Anthony's holding the American flag, telling me, you know what? That's a brother. That's a brother as he came down Wynn Way. I'm here because I felt compelled to come and advocate for you, Paul. These people behind me who don't know you and want to judge you for 5 seconds of whatever nonsense they saw, that's unfair to you. You guys are, you people behind me are just as guilty as the nonsense that they're trying to accuse you of. They don't know you. Get to know the man, get to know the man, and then make your comments. I've been there when I've run into you.
Please, no interruptions. Please let the speaker talk.
You know what the funny part about it is that me llamo Eduardo Perez, soy mexicano, and the people behind me are gonna think that I'm the racist now. Why? Because I'm not standing with
Please, out of order. Please, no interruption.
They can boo, that's fine. If they want to feed into the nonsense that's going around in the nation, watch their CNNs and their Fox News and think that they're woke, because the people behind me think that they're woke, you guys.
Can you pause for 1 second? We're gonna hold your time.
Point of order, Mayor.
Please.
Mr. Johnson.
The disruptors in the crowd need to keep it quiet or be removed.
Please. We're all here to listen to everybody, whether you like it or not. Thank you. You may continue.
All I'm saying is that you guys behind me think you're woke, and the entire time you guys are judging a person without knowing him. Isn't that the description of being discriminative or racist? You guys are judging this man without knowing him. All I say is, I know you, Paul. I know that you are not the person that they're depicting. And the people behind me that continue talking, it's funny because now, even though I'm Mexican first, period, I've been Mexican all my entire life, I know you as a person, and I'm not gonna stand or sit at home and watch these people belittle you. I don't believe that. You gave my brother, Sergeant Carlos Torres, a hero's welcome, and regardless of his nationality or his race, you said he's a brother, he's American. You've been there for me before, and today I am here for you, Paul. And that's all I needed to say, and everybody behind me for sure. Run your mouths like you guys have when the other gentleman came here to speak on Paul's behalf. I heard everybody talking. That's cool. Be woke, stay woke, you guys. I'm here to talk on a brother of mine who, yeah, wake up. I need you guys to stop being brainwashed, please. The people behind me. For real. No. Because I'm the only one that knows you, Paul. That's why I say the people behind me who do not know you are going to run with whatever narrative, and that's fine. You know what? Just like they're telling me to sit down and be quiet.
Excuse me, time.
I just want to give a couple of seconds more. Go ahead.
No. That's fine. Mayor. No, that's fine.
Time's up, Mayor.
That's fine.
Okay, you cannot, okay, listen. Wait. He was interrupted. Nobody else was interrupted like that. So he took no additional time. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Okay.
Next speaker card.
Who do we have next?
Chrissy Gallardo.
Please.
No, next speaker card.
Chrissy Gallardo.
Okay. Welcome.
Hi everyone, City Council and community members. My name is Crisantema, Chrissy Gallardo, 99 Roots Director with Power California. And I am here today because, let me share what Power California is. We're a statewide alliance that harnesses the energy of young voters to transform California into a more equitable state. I'm also proud alumni of Atwater High School, and I currently live in District 3. I am compelled to voice my concerns about the racist leadership that makes up Atwater City Council and call for the immediate resignation of Mayor Paul Creighton. Mayor Creighton and the rest of City Council, your decision last May to declare Atwater a business sanctuary sent a clear message across Merced County. You all condone racism. I was very disturbed by the commentary made by many of you. You intentionally co-opted a sacred resistance movement that immigrants and refugees have created in order to survive. And it is unacceptable that to present day, Atwater City Mayor Paul Creighton continues to get away with hate speech and bigotry. I was made aware of the incident that happened over the weekend. Mayor verbally assaulted and intimidated a street vendor and community members that were present. City staff and law enforcement, as expected in the city of Atwater, tried to protect his behavior, and that is unacceptable. I want to remind In the past, I've seen on social media how Merced city council members and Atwater Mayor Paul joke about MAGA, meaning make Atwater guapo again. And I'm fed up of white racists being in elected positions and not being held accountable for the racist words and actions. I want to remind the city council that back in 2009, then city council member Gary Frago, he sent racist emails. I was still in high school when that happened. Back in 2009, when Gary Frago sent those racist emails, it cost the city thousands of taxpayer dollars. And I personally believe that no amount of implicit bias and cultural diversity training that the mayor partaken will repair the harm that his actions have caused. Your elected positions are supposed to represent the majority of this community, which is working class, Black and brown essential workers. This includes street vendors, and we will not stand by and allow that white supremacists like Pa verbally attack and attempt to intimidate our communities. An apology is not enough. I don't want a white supremacist to continue to decide and make policy decisions and decide where the city's budget goes for a community that is mostly composed of people of color and immigrants and refugees. It's 2021. City leadership needs to stop contributing to the systemic racism that has failed communities of color. Stop supporting mediocre white racist leadership. It's not about you apologizing. We're gonna lead a recon and get you out of that seat.
Thank you.
Daniel Perez.
Who do we have next?
Daniel Perez.
Welcome.
I don't have a speaker card.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and staff here. I'm the son of Donicio Rede Perez. I am the son of Ofelia Bayo Perez. My mother was born in Mexico City in 1941. My father was born in Artesia, New Mexico. My mother came here legally. And what both of them taught me, I'm adopted, by the way. I have a black brother, I have a white brother, I have a Mexican brother, and I have myself, and I have about 18 other kids that they had on their own. What they taught me growing up is if you do something, you do it right. If that means to register your business, do that. If that means you have to be taxed, do that. If that means you have to follow city ordinances, do that. Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure what happened that day. I stand behind you. I know you as a good friend, sir. I know each and every single one of you personally. I know you. I stand by you. And Mr. Mayor, these folks here don't know. February, I believe, is Black History Month. We nominated too. And whose idea was that, Mr. Mayor? I do believe it was yours. Thank you for that, sir. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an announcement. If anyone wants to discuss anything outside about racism or anything, I am adopted white. My brother is black. Both of my parents are Hispanic. I will have an open forum with them. I would love to discuss. Thank you. I love you. I support everything that you do. Same with all of you above. Thank you.
Thank you. Who do we have next?
Richard Johnson.
Yeah, Richard Johnson, 1675 Drakely Avenue, our former home of 18 years. The guy was just talking about how you're supposed to go by the law, right? Get your permit, get your health permit to sell fruit, right, and all this. Well, you know what? I had a health permit on that property I bought from the Merced County, just like I've had for 25 years selling fruit on the roadside. I bought that property for me and my wife and my family for us to be able to prosper and live a good life, decent life. Now we're freaking homeless because of you guys. Don't think for a second we didn't try everything. Then you guys had Merced County throw us off our freaking property, took our property from us. You don't think I'm mad? Yeah, I'm fucking mad. Hell yeah, I'm mad. I have every right to be mad. I bought that freaking property. I put $95,000 my whole life working in that property. My brother helped me build that. My son, my kids, my wife, we built that property. We built that house there. That house was falling over when I bought it 18 years ago. One of the oldest houses here. And because it's commercial, city commercial now, when I bought that property, it was commercial residential. I know what I bought. And you guys are sitting there lying to people saying that you didn't rezone our property. The hell you didn't. You did rezone our property to city commercial. Why? And then here's the thing. And then you sit there and say, you didn't rezone it, and you guys didn't take it from us. Who took it then? Tell me who took it, Mayor Creighton. A third party, you said. You said we lost it to the bank? No, the bank didn't foreclose on us. If the bank foreclosed, we would have lost, the bank would have auctioned it off. The liens would have been paid, the so-called liens you guys put on my property to take it. $91,000 water bill. Tell me about that. Tell people about that. Let's get it all out there. You guys destroyed our lives. We're homeless in Merced with 5 pets. And you think that's okay? It is not okay what you did. You and Cindy Vieira, she's gone now. But let me tell you, she's a loan agent. We know what you guys did. You took our property. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with our property? That's my property, my wife's property. We own that. We didn't owe nothing on that property except for about $20,000. You took it from us. And I didn't get one dime, not a 1 red cent, not a penny out of my home. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. What do we have next?
Tanya Galash Boza.
Welcome.
I had one.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tanya Golash Boza. I'm a resident of the city of Merced, the county of Merced, and a professor at the University of California, Merced. It's been a great honor to live in the Central Valley and get to know the wonderful youth organizers, many of whom have spoken to you already this evening. You're probably wondering, why do they keep saying I'm racist? I'm not racist. I have black friends. I had a Mexican clean my house yesterday. You know, you're probably wondering why people are calling you racist. So I teach racism. I want to take the opportunity to explain some things to you, maybe help put some perspective. So when you take on attitudes that are anti-immigrant, you say, oh, no, I'm not anti-immigrant. I don't like the undocumented ones, right? Well, the thing about it is, in the United States, the vast majority of people who live in the United States without legal documentation are people of color. So when you implement policies that discriminate against people who don't have papers, you're implementing policies that are racist. Because that's how racism works. It doesn't matter what your personal attitudes are. What happened in the market or in the street or the other day, when you let some of your personal biases rise to the surface, surely in a moment of indiscretion, I don't care about that. What I care about are the policies that you implement and the extent to which they continue the long legacy of Anglo supremacy in the Central Valley. That's starting to break, and y'all are starting to get a little nervous about it. But you know what? It's time for it to break. We have these wonderful youth leaders here, many of whom are ready to break down that Anglo supremacy. So you know what? The time of the racist is about to be over. That's right.
Thank you.
Stephanie Sarati.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Zarati, and I want to just talk in behalf of us sitting out here. I know that a lot of emotions are running through this room, and what angers me the most is just as we're right here expressing something that happened that had to do with you, Mayor of Atwater. You're just sitting down, showing no emotion, showing no remorse or anything about what happened. For me, I'm not seeing you as a racist. I just see you as a person that may be having a bad day that day or something. But just for you to be sitting there and be emotionless towards everybody here and everyone's different feelings about what's going on, about the street vendors, is unacceptable. And because Yes, it shows a lot of your character. I know you have your friends here, and that's great. I'm glad that there's people that see your side as well. But as a Mexican American that lives in Merced and that always comes to Atwater, I want to represent the people that have small businesses. So therefore, I request that you give an apology to that person, that vendor, and you apologize to our community, because I know that's not okay, what you did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ant.
Welcome.
Evening, Mr. Mayor. I have a question for you. How the fuck did you grow up where you think this is okay?
Excuse me, can I ask that if another person uses foul language, they be removed?
Free speech, and I'll do what I please. Thank you. Thank you. You're running my time out. So, sir, I'd like to ask you a question. How did you grow up and think it's okay to talk to people like that? How do you think it's okay to do things like this? My mama didn't teach me shit like that. Did yours? You should know better than that. You're an elected official. You shouldn't. How can you? And then you call and use your power to remove a man from a street corner? Who the fuck do you think you are? And if I could be on a fly on the wall to see the notes that Lori Waterman is passing you during these fucking meetings, you think I don't be seeing? Okay? What you did was not right. You made a lady cry. My mama didn't teach me to make no ladies cry. That's no fucking man. Fuck out of here.
Mayor, there are no more speaker cards.
Thank you. This time we'll close the public comment. Oh, wait, any other members of the public like to come forward at this time?
Rich Miller.
Welcome.
334 Silva Drive, Atwater, also pastor, Victory Baptist Church here in Atwater. And I was waiting because I didn't turn in a comment card, but I know that according to procedure, because I've been coming for over 2 years, that you do allow people to come at the end, and so I was waiting. First off, I wanted to thank the cameras for being here. I wish they would have been here for the last 2 years that I've been coming, because they would have seen a huge change in our city. For those who aren't aware, less than 2 years ago, our city was being watched by the state because of our financial crisis. We are no longer in debt. We are actually, we are doing very well fiscally, and it came because of the leadership, not of one man, but of many people working together. I don't know what happened on Saturday. I do not claim that Paul Creighton is a perfect man. I believe I heard Councilmember Raymond one time say that there was only one perfect man that ever lived, and he died on a cross. But what I do know is that as I've gotten to know Mayor Creighton, he's shown me that he is a very caring man. He is a very loving man. Is he above making mistakes? No. And I don't know what happened. But I would say this, that the one perfect man who did live, Jesus said, "He who has no sin, cast the first stone." So people, this is public comment time, so I'm just commenting
Please
as
continue.
a resident of the city of Atwater. And so with that being said, it does break my heart as a citizen of Atwater to see people who are bullying those that are serving our community. And I would just like to remind everybody that if they have an issue with you, Mr. Mayor, that I know that, or any city council member, I know that they can come to you about it. They can address you personally about it. Or if they want you removed, there's a process for it. That's what's happening in the state of California with our governor. With all that being said, the anger that's here tonight, it's not positive progress. And whether you made a mistake or not.
Ma'am, please. Ma'am, please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt the speaker.
Hold the time. Hold on, we're recess.
We're going to take a recess.
We're going to take a recess.
You can remove me. You're going to have to.
5 minute recess. We don't want to remove anybody. 5 minute recess.
Shame on you, Mayor, and shame on whoever you are.
give them a minute to settle back down. Okay, thank you.
So all that I was really getting up here to say is that I just hope that we could be civil as we go forward with this. We're all going to have different sides to things. And last, I did want to invite everybody out on May 16th. We are honoring our local law enforcement at Victory Baptist Church. We do it every year, and we'd like to invite the community out to support our law enforcement. We'll be honoring one recipient from the police department, one from the sheriff's department, one from the highway patrol for their outstanding service over the last 12 months. So thank you to all those that are serving our community.
Thank you.
Pastor Miller, can I get the date again? I didn't quite hear that date.
Yes, sir. May 16th.
16th, thank you.
At 10 a.m., yes, sir.
Okay, do we have any last minute speakers that haven't spoken yet? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment and bring it back to council matters. So, thank you for expressing yourselves. This is America, it's freedom of speech. What happened Saturday was, as the mayor, I witnessed a illegal street vendor, and I was with my family on the way to a local store, and I stopped and I approached the gentleman and I gave him my card. I said I was the mayor, and that asked him if he had a business license, which he didn't speak very good English. At that point, I said, you can't be here on the corner. This is city property on the corner because you're blocking the corner. And he said, okay, and broken English. And I informed him, I said, well, you could get in trouble with code enforcement here, so you need to probably pack up and move because it's not allowed. If you don't have a license, you can't be here. If you have a license, you need to move in a better location. And then on my way back to my car, some people approached, and there were some perceptions, and I let the city manager know that there's a vendor on the corner of Atwater Boulevard and First Street that is operating without a permit. From what I can tell, I'm not sure. Can you please inquire? So that's all that was the interaction between he and I. There was never any racial comments or accusations or anything. He was actually a very polite gentleman. I don't know how this got spun into whatever it is. I think it's part of the society we're in, where we have people that don't know and weren't there. So it's important to follow the process as members of the community, whether you street vendor or you own your own restaurant. And by doing that, you make the community safer. We don't have health permits for the street vendors. If the county doesn't know you're permitted, maybe your food handling practices aren't right or whatever else, we don't want to injure anybody in our community, and we don't want that person to be liable for anybody else. So that's all my interaction was. After that, I don't know what this got turned into. I understand society is really weird right now, but that's all I've got to say. So, Councilman Kale, your comments?
You're saying she's lying.
I want to say that I'm very proud of the city that we live in, that it is a community of very, very hard-working people. And I would love for none of this to have happened. Whatever happened, I was not there, and the majority of you were not there. My time my time, Council Lady, please. I hope that you don't have vendors in there that are not and Merced, who are not following the proper process. We are a city of law and order. Without that, we have chaos. And I don't care what you do, it is still law, and we just keep doing. I have no idea, I don't know how you walk in your shoes, and you don't know how I walk in mine. But you know what? I respect the fact that you got here, and like I said, I am more than willing to sit and listen to whatever you say, and I am more than willing to take calls from businesses in town that say, hey, there's a person over here selling this, and it's taken away from my business. And that is the truth of the subject. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Councilman Ambrose?
First of all, for all of those young people who got to the mic to speak, I know how much courage that had to take, regardless of what the subject matter was. Like Councilman Kell said, I was not there on Saturday, nor have I seen the video. I am not here to protect Mayor Creighton. I am here, again, as a representative for District 3. Whether you voted for me or not, I am your representative for District 3. That's fine. I am also the son of Franco Ricon Flores. I am half Mexican, I am half white. My children have my Mexican heritage, as well as Korean. So for you to deem me a racist in the emails, you don't even know who I am. Again, I can't really speak on what happened on Saturday because I wasn't there. Nor am I going to use my political seat to push an agenda. Now, if you guys have issues within District 3, please reach out. I have plenty of people call me and email me. I'm not a hard person to get a hold of. I'm here to represent everyone I'm here to represent the city of Atwater. If you don't believe me that I'm a decent person to represent people, I'm also a union leader for CSEA Chapter 530 Merced, where I'm the chapter president. I'm also the regional representative. I represent over 40,000 people. I try to pay as much attention as possible. So yes, thank you guys for coming here tonight and talking, but please don't act like you guys reached out to everyone, because again, you guys haven't. What am I? Am I chopped liver?
Please, no back and forth.
That's fine.
Please,
Okay,
please, no
okay.
back and forth.
And I just want to address one other thing to the gentleman here. I understand how proud you are, your mom, how she raised you. But I'm going to tell you right now, my mom would have beat me for the way that you talked tonight. I get it. Tempers are up. I have a young daughter watching this right now. I have nephews and nieces that are watching this right now, as well as everyone else here. It's about respect. If you want respect, you got to give respect as well.
Please, no back and forth.
No respect for that, right?
Sir?
Thank you guys, and try to enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Councilman Raymond?
You know, to echo the sentiments of Councilman Ambrose and Kale, I wasn't there. I didn't see what happened. All I can do is speak to the character of Paul Creighton, who has welcomed me and my culturally diverse family into his home on several occasions. And I've witnessed Paul, because this is a personal, the personal attacks against him, this is personal. I've witnessed Paul, the man, around Christmas time, who he doesn't like to talk about the charity that he does, because you're not supposed to. Biblically, you're not supposed to brag about your charity. But I've seen Paul go out and buy 100 Christmas trees and deliver them to those that can't afford them. And a lot of them, minorities. So I know the man and I know his heart. A gentleman earlier, Eduardo Perez, had said, you know, you can make these judgments when you get to know the man. And I know the man and he's a good man. If there's video evidence of what happened, the full thing, because I heard all night that there's phones that were catching everything, but the video that's on social media doesn't show the racial epithets that were supposedly said. If they were, I'd come at Paul just like I'd come at anybody else, because that's not cool. My wife and kids are Hispanic, so that's personal to me. And the man I know is not the man you guys have made him out to be. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Councilman Button.
Well, first I know this is off topic, but the graffiti gang control has been doing a great job, and I just want to get that out of the way before I forget. So I do not want to forget that. I've really appreciated what they've done with how fast whenever I've called them. So let's get that out of the way. My last name is Button. I'm about as white as you get, okay? I'm from Northern California, and I am probably as white as you get, okay? What can I say? I teach special education here in town. And about probably 90% of the kiddos that I work with are not white. And I've worked in Fireball, I've worked in Merced, I've worked in Atwater. And I love those kids. I do anything for those kids. Literally giving the shirt off my back. And I don't need anybody from UC Merced to come up in here and tell me that that's not good enough. That I say, well, I'm white, but I love these kids that I work with, that I'm around. Because I know my heart, it's just the truth. And I have not seen the footage, and I'm not gonna get into much detail about it. I appreciate what you guys did to come up here and speak. All of you guys that spoke, all of you guys. I appreciate everybody that came up here and spoke. It's not fun to come up here and speak. It's hard. You got, people everywhere, and I don't like public speaking either. So, at the end of the day, we're a community. We have to move forward together. We're not going to get through this pandemic and everything that's going on in this community separated. And, I really appreciate what somebody said, that, America is a continent, and America is also an idea. It's not an experiment. It's an idea. Councilman from Merced, if you would like to interrupt me any further, it is a total disrespect. I would come to your council meetings and I would give you the utmost respect. So I would really appreciate it if you would just please let me finish. I would give you that in your council meetings. Thank you. Do you want to take this microphone and speak? So I would appreciate it if you'd let me finish. I'd also like to finish. I'll try to get through this, because I didn't know this was going to be so emotionally charged. That this is April, Autism Awareness Month. I have a son, 7-year-old son with autism. So I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional. I'm new to city council. I haven't been on city council very long, so this kind of thing is kind of new to me. So forgive me. But I do want to bring some awareness to autism, something that affects our community, just like any of the other topics that we're talking about. And I would just ask the community that, because I think that autism awareness is more than just saying that we need to be early detection of autism and that sort of thing. It goes beyond that. It goes into people that talk differently, sound different. When you're at a grocery store and somebody's just talking at a higher octave than you, or they think something's funny that you don't understand why it's funny, or you see a family in the grocery store and their kid's out of control, and you think, gosh, what a rotten kid that kid is. Why aren't they getting control of that kid? I just ask, whether they have autism or not, I just ask that you, and I myself and everybody, just take a step back and have a little more grace when you see someone that just has a little bit different perspective on the world. And absolutely. Please. So it is April Awareness Month, and so that's for my son, Jack.
Meeting adjourned. Meeting adjourned.
Sir, I empathize with your pain.